What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Burn Factory podcast. I'm your host, Priest, joined by my co-host, my brother, the one and only Phoenix. Say what's up to the camera.
What's up, y'all?
This is called the Burn Factory for a reason. I was literally caught on fire. 50% chance to live, but through that started this podcast because I believe every single person out there on this planet goes through a burn moment somewhere in their life.
You heard Priest say a burn moment. So a burn moment is a super hard time in your life that you just have to fight and overcome. And me and Priest believe that every single person on this earth go through burn moments that truly build them to who they are. But what an amazing guest we have today. He has truly done it all. He was the Oscar Day Jiu Jitsu champion. He was also the Canadian Open champion in judo. Not only is he a stud on the mats, but he is a decorated coach. He has taught some of the world's best fighters such as John Fitch, Josh Thompson, and Cain Velasquez. And now he has his own gym called Guerrilla Jiu Jitsu. And to top it off, he has appeared in John Wick, John Wick 4, and Guardian of the Galaxies.
So please give a warm welcome to Dave Camarillo.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Appreciate it.
Welcome.
Gosh,
Appreciate
the
you guys.
accolades just boom, 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 boom.
keep him listening. So, Dave, as I mentioned, we've only been doing this podcast for almost a year now, about 11 months, and we became really close with the UFC and people within the UFC. And so we've been asking about you, and kind of the word that always comes up when we mention Dave Camarillo is legend. So being a legend, being a pioneer of MMA as a whole, like, how does that make you feel? What is your reaction to that?
Nervous. Like now I got to live up to that. Yeah, I hear that a bit, but I don't feel like a legend. So I show up to work every day and just try to fight my way through whatever problem solving for the day. And, you know, when I train with my guys and I try to be as a good martial artist and respectful, and every day is a lesson, whether it's a bad day or a good day, it's teaching me something. I try to just live by that.
Yeah, and now the UFC's been around for 30 years, but not only just UFC, but martial arts as a whole. Like, seeing it grow so fast, like, what are your thoughts on that? How's it grown?
Yeah, I mean, gosh, you said 30 years. 92, I watched the first UFC in 1992. Royce Gracie was smashing things up with techniques that we would work on in training in judo. And I didn't understand the difference back then. Now I have a more experience with that, but it's amazing where it's at. It's amazing that both MMA and jiu-jitsu has grown so much. It's not just MMA. MMA is huge, but let's not forget jiu-jitsu is the more user-friendly martial art where people, very intellectual people, can have fun with, and it's not going to give you brain damage. But
That's
yeah,
for sure.
I mean, it's amazing. I mean, from watching it in 92 to cornering so many fights at the UFC, and then to now training Mark Zuckerberg, who loves MMA. It's a weird kind of 30 years that I've been a part of it. It's a little surreal, I think.
Yeah.
It's crazy to see how far the game has come, though, from just straight standing up and banging to no rules to you see a lot of jiu-jitsu now and wrestling, and instead of just pure MMA now.
Yeah, you almost miss the old days where it was just style versus style, and that just doesn't exist anymore. Like,
Yeah.
even defending wise, like if a guy fights a jiu-jitsu guy, he's going to be using jiu-jitsu to defend against it. You know, so everyone is doing everything, and it's going down to now they're not just martial artists and not just learning different skill sets, but they're Olympic style or Olympic level athletes. They're taking every aspect of their fighting serious, and it's amazing. Same with jiu-jitsu. I mean, these are Olympic level athletes, and they're really good at choking you. You know what I mean? Like, that's
right.
a very amazing thing that these people can do.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, it's crazy how much jiu-jitsu has really became MMA. You look at people like Charles Oliveira or our good friend like Diego Lopez. When you have that such threat on the ground, even off your back, it makes you start to second guess. Hey, well, maybe should I take him down? Should I go to the ground to his world? So it's really cool to see how jiu-jitsu has evolved in its own thing, but also integrating it with MMA.
Yeah, and you're still seeing like still there's styles. I mean, like, for example, Khabib. You knew he wanted you on the ground.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting to see how he evolves to, be subversive enough to get you to think he's doing one thing and he does the other. So yes, everyone has evolved and it's amazing and we can't go backwards in time. But at the same time, there's still strategies that make it still amazingly interesting to watch and try to predict.
Yeah. Do you think there's ever going to be a time where it's going to be a little too unfair almost for one guy?
No. Look at Ronda Rousey. We thought that she would just be champion forever. And I've seen so many situations where this person is unbeatable. And I'm like, I remember doing a interview way back on how to beat Ronda Rousey, actually. And how to beat her is winning the clinch. And the interviewer was like, well, don't you want to avoid the clinch? Well, yes, but if you only try to avoid, it's like you're living in fear in that moment. And what did Holm do is won the clinch and outstruck her. So it's never going to be unfair. I mean, there's amazing athletes and styles that are very difficult to crack. Basically, it's like, what problems am I presented if I'm fighting GSP or Adesanya or whoever? And it's like, well, if you're showing up to work that day and you got that fight, that's your problem. You better figure it out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and the money they're making, I think, is a good thing, and it's motivating people, and training camps are getting better. And, coaches are just absolutely amazing these days. So, yeah, it's fun.
And the recovery is getting a lot better than what it used to be back in the day.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm from the generation of recovery was just complain.
Nothing.
You know what I mean? Like
you didn't know recovery?
Maybe ice it. It's not the same.
Not the same.
This is there's a whole science behind it right now. Back in my day, it was like, just go to sleep.
Yeah.
Wake up.
That's recovery.
Throw
train
some ice
harder
on the wounds.
and not complain. And like, but I think it's not a bad thing. I mean, in my day, people were just, because they didn't understand recovery, they were just tough. You know what I mean? These days, I think they're smarter. Some of them may be smarter and not as tough, but if they have both of those, toughness and they're smart about the recovery and how they train and training partners, really good training partners are a large part of that for longevity, then those are the champions. Yeah. The ones that had figured that out, those are the champions.
Yeah. Do you think people were more mentally tough back then compared to now, or?
I think everyone with gray hair would say yes.
Yeah.
Like I said, though, people are extremely intelligent about their approach to everything they do these days. So, there's outliers that are combining both the mental toughness of how their parents treated them and how they raised them back in my day. Because today it's just night and day. It's very different. I'm learning that as a parent, but it's exciting. I mean, it's exciting how the culture adjusts to the overall pool that the UFC has to draw from these days.
Yeah. Yeah, it's super interesting just how MMA has evolved, but especially with your story. So let's get into that. So on this podcast, we do use the acronym BURN. So each letter is kind of a different time in your life. So starting with B is beginning. Take us back to the beginning, your childhood. Was there any burn moments that you had to overcome that ultimately got you to where you're at today?
Well, let me just preface this. When you said burn, you said something that was extremely difficult to overcome, and I'm looking at my life, I've never had anything remotely close to what you've dealt with. And then I have a lot of buddies in the special operations community. I can't relate to them in certain things that they've done in their lives and have experienced and have witnessed and bring with them every night when they go to sleep. For me, I think every day was a, burn light, like, you know what I mean? Like a light burn. The way I grew up, my dad was pretty hardcore. He wanted Olympic champions. I grew up when I was age of 5 doing judo. I trained judo 6 days a week. My dad built a 6-car garage in the back pasture, and we had a dojo. So we'd train 5 days a week at the rec center, and then we'd do a Saturday, in the big dojo area. And I mean, prior to that, we would just lay mats out. And I remember hitting my ankles on concrete. It was a different time. It's like, very unsafe, and we trained really hard. And then by the time I was 19, when I started jiu-jitsu, I trained 6 days a week. My day off, I did jiu-jitsu. So when I was 19, I was training every single day. And I was driving from Fresno, where I lived, 2.5 hours to Pleasant Hill, California, where Half and Cesar Gracie trained. And then I would drive home that day. So that's 5 hours in the car. And then they would keep me after, because they realize I had some skill because I could throw everybody around, whatever. And so like, okay, we're going to invest in this guy, I think. And so I spent hours and hours there, and then I would drive home. But then I started seeing that where jiu-jitsu was paying off in my judo, and I would start destroying everybody on the mat because judo wasn't very good in that area. You have jiu-jitsu, specialties on the ground, and then I grew up from there. And I think my whole career can be summed up by ADD. Like I get really bored really easy, and I have to keep, searching for something.
Yeah, searching for something new.
Yeah, to me, life is about, well, where's the next adventure? I'm done with this. Like, okay, I got to find another adventure. And so, like, I went from judo to jiu-jitsu to MMA to combatives to stunts, and I'm trying to find the next thing, while keeping sanity and having a family, and so things slow down a little bit, but all these priorities. So my beginning was just hard. I spent my summers in Japan, training in Japan. I remember I got asked to prom, believe it or not, back in the day, and I said, no, I can't go. And she's like, why? And I said, well, I'm going to Japan. And she's like, well, prom's this weekend. And I'm like, yeah, I leave tomorrow. And so my whole life, my summers were spent in Japan training judo for the whole summer, where we would do a camp. It was 4 practices in one day for 5 days straight. And it was just brutal. It was brutal training. I had no skin on my elbows because we do the crawls all along the mat. They would just rip off and they never healed. The 4 practices were 7 o'clock to 7:30 running. And then I was, didn't speak Japanese, but I would act like a freshman, which means I would lay down the placemats for everybody to eat and the silverware, and I would eat last. So by the time I ate, I would hurry up and eat, and then we'd have randori practice for 2 hours, 10 to 12. So, and then we'd finish that, and then we'd have come back at 3 to 5, randori, tachiwaza, which is the stand-up technique. And then I'd come back for uchikomi at night for an hour. So that's 5.5 hours of actual training, scheduled a day. And I learned early on to just outgrow whatever environment I'm in. I need to outgrow it. And so like at San Jose State, Jose Ben Cosme, a buddy of mine. When I got to San Jose State Judo, Jose and Chuck Jefferson were the toughest guys there. So I'm like, okay, well, however hard they train, I got to train that hard. And so me and Jose would do this thing where we train 5 rounds. We'd do like 12, it's crazy, 12 5-minute rounds. You know how hard judo is.
Yeah.
We do the first 5 with each other because there's nobody else in the room that would even come close to training that hard. And it'd be like a round off for me to train with someone else, So I'd try to hunt down Jose, hunt down Chuck, and do what they do with the lifting and the running practices in the morning. And so that's been my mentality forever. And I think that's what my dad wanted. It's just whatever environment you're in, just outgrow it and then move on and keep hunting.
Yeah. How'd you never get like burnt out of doing
I did. I got burnt out of competition. I retired from competition after my most successful year ever. So I won the Canadian Open. I think it was 99. Don't quote me. 99.
Yeah.
So long ago.
A few weeks ago.
So, and then I took 3rd in Europe. It was an A-level event, and it gave me my A. It was the Italian Grand Prix. And I won every match by opponent. I was on fire. But I lost to a San Jose State guy who was representing Puerto Rico. Super good dude. But anyway, I was on fire. And then I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to compete. I don't like the stress. I don't like what it does to me. I don't like how I treat people. And I never just really took competition seriously after that. So I absolutely did get burnt out, but I didn't get burnt out of training. I never will.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'll just say it, like we have struggles and our mind wants to go a certain direction. And if I don't train, it will go there,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to be stronger than your own mind. back to like your dad, you said that your father was very like hard on you and he wanted 2 Olympic champions. Did you ever feel pressure from him, like going into competitions, like, man, or that whole pressure of just like, I got to make an Olympic team. I got to be an Olympic champion.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and I think it was a good thing. I think, you know, I had a, I'm not going to say hard childhood because like I said, everything's relative, but compared to how I treat my son, it's like night and day. And some people ask me, well, how's your relationship with your father? I'm like, it's great. Like,
yeah.
I have no like it's awesome. Like I don't know that I would be able to, and I don't know, maybe, but I don't know that I would be able to do the things I'm doing and just keep saying yes to things. You know, working for the military, like they're like, hey, can you do this? Yep. Like I say, yeah, I only say yes. And so, for example, my record there is teaching. I taught like 12 hours straight with no break. I had water. That was it. And the reason is because I just kept saying yes to what they needed. And I put them first. So that's how I confirm these relationships is I'm never late. I'm always an hour early and I'm ready to go. And I'm like, I will fight anyone. And you can tell I'm getting excited about it. But like, I don't know that I would be able to do those things. I don't know, maybe if I didn't have such a rough childhood, not bad, just rough, hardcore, you know. Winning was, my dad wanted me to win. And so that's it.
Yeah.
All right, Dave, it's time to go to U and burn. It stands for unfortunate. I believe there's many unfortunate things in life, but through those unfortunate things, sometimes the best things can come out of them. Like myself, I was unfortunately caught on fire in a school science experiment by my teacher that went horribly, horribly wrong. That blew up like a bomb in my face. And I spent a week in ICU, had 7 surgeries with a 50% chance to survive. Because with burns, the swelling is so bad and they're worried about my breathing stopping. And whenever I found that out, because I'm 13 years old, whenever I found that out in the hospital, I was very scared because I'm trying to fight for my life and I didn't want to die at 13 years old. And I was like, what's the one thing that's going to bring me joy in the hospital? And I had my brother and my dad and my mom go get my golf putter, and I'd put a golf ball into this glass jar over and over and over, all hooked up to all the IVs. Couldn't even see because my face was swelled shut. And I truly believe if that burn moment doesn't happen in the hospital, I don't have this podcast, nor am I talking to Dave Camarillo.
Yeah. I think some of the hardest times in your life really build you to who they are. And sometimes it doesn't directly affect you. Like it didn't directly affect me, but seeing my brother and being on the outside of it, it's really hard to see because like that's my little brother, man. Like he's 13 years old and just getting super excited, really getting into golf. And I know in recency with you, you've gone through some unfortunate times. And so can you just dive into that and some unfortunate burn moments?
Yeah, I think, first of all, I mean, I can't imagine going through that. When I'll just talk about career-wise, when COVID hit, I had a school for 14 years. And me and my wife, it was a family business, kids' classes, and it was a family academy. We had 500 students in March 15th of 2020. And that's the day they actually shut the schools down. I was actually doing a seminar in Helena, Montana, and I was flying home. I remember flying home, and it was crazy. But I'm one of the lucky ones. But we try to save our school, and basically it comes down to landlords. Do landlords care? Or are you in a position where you think you can take a loan? My point of view was, I don't want to take a loan like that because there was no certainty of anything. Our county was, we were like drawing those lines of, they call them social bubbles.
Yeah,
and
we had the 6 feet rule.
Yeah, and so we're trying to save our school. We're doing Zoom classes, which doesn't work very well with Jiu Jitsu. But anyway, we had 500 students. It was a successful school, and then we lost it. We couldn't hold on to that, so we vacated. We're just like, we can't do this. Like, this is not going to last. And so the first time in my life, I think I saw the sun go down. What I mean by that is ever since I was 5 or ever since I could remember, I would be at judo practice or jiu-jitsu practice at night, like all the time, you know? So during the week, the first shock to my system was like, I'm actually home at night. And it's just a super weird feeling. And I'm like, man, this is actually pretty nice. Because I never thought, is this nice? Do I want that kind of life? I'm like, wow, this is pretty nice. But like I said, I was lucky. Like, my burn moment was, I didn't have a job for the first time since I was 15, you know? And that's just a weird feeling. So we went on a 2-week vacation and my wife's like, you're irritable, get out of here. So I went to LA and hung out with Chad Stahelski to train. He's the director of John Wick. And I had somewhat built that relationship prior. And I just wanted to go train. I never had aspirations to be a stunt guy. And then literally that September of 2020, like a month after I closed my school, he brought me to the office and talked to me a little bit. And he's like, all right, let's make this official. And I'm like, I have no idea what's going on. And he pulls out a notebook and a pen. I still have it. It's a black notebook with a red pen. And he's like, you're going to be a fight choreographer for John Wick 4. And I'm like, wow, this is amazing.
Yeah.
What the hell is a fight choreographer? You know what I mean? Like I'm like, then you talk about pressure. It's my first rodeo and I can't screw up and I'm fighting for my job every single day. And like, so all that pressure when I was a kid, I think my career is lucky. Yeah, I've worked really hard, but like, who gets a job a month after they lose their job?
Yeah.
That's this, like, of this magnitude. So my burn moment was, I think, is represented in the severe, what I would say, massive pressure for 14 months that I was on the project.
It was 14 months long.
Yeah, so I was I call it pre-prep, and then you have prep, and then we go to shoot the movie. So yeah. September, I moved to LA in 2020, and I didn't come home from Jordan November 14th of 2021.
Wow.
And so I was doing almost 7 days a week for 14 months. I was doing I did 7 days a week until I moved to Germany in March of 2021. And then I was doing 6 days a week. We shoot nights. There was 2 months. It was brutal. There's 2 months where I and Chad's like, you're not going to, he's trying to prep me for this because I'm the only guy there that's never done this. Like, of the core team, like, most of them have been on John Wick 3. You know, Jeremy Marinas, amazing. He was my fight coordinator. Mm-hmm. Amazing. That guy's, he's top tier, you know, fight coordinator, director, martial artist, amazing. And he's my boss. And I had Bruce and Lee, and they were a part of the core team. And they've done it before. This is for me my first rodeo. And there was 2 months, I think it was about 2 months, where my average sleep was 3 hours a night, 3 to 4 hours a night, like consistently. And then there were certain parts of that where I was up 24 hours because of the schedule. Like, if you work 6 nights, because when we're on set, it's always, John Wick kills people at night.
Yeah.
And it's always raining.
All night. Yeah.
That's true.
The reason why it's raining is because you want to, it's good for the lighting, the DP, like, it's good to reflect light. So it looks beautiful. That's why John Wick movies look beautiful. He's running in the rain. And it's also the story of constant struggle. Yeah. Like, it's just constant. Like, you never see him sleep. You never see him hang out. It's just constant. People are hunting him. And that's literally the story of working on that film. It's just go. And so we would work nights. And if we work 6 days a week and it's 6 nights, let me try to do this right. So Saturday night turns into Sunday morning. I get back Sunday morning, 7 in the morning. So I leave at night traffic and I'm coming home after work in morning traffic. Mm. Well, I work Monday for a whole new week, but I work Monday night. So there's really no day off.
Yeah.
Does that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, yeah, just full.
And then it's hard to acclimate. So the problem is I'd go to sleep, I'm trying to do this Saturday night, because I would just default to nights to sleep wake up Monday morning, not get back from work until Tuesday morning. And so I'm up 24 hours. And I'm not saying anything like it's tough. This is it's just, that's a Chad show, we call it.
Yeah.
Like if you're on a Chad show, you like, maybe you need life trauma prior to be able to deal with it. You know what I mean? Like it's going to test your fortitude for sure. But for 14 months, it was just the most brutal job I've ever done in my life by far. It's not even close. Like, and that's why I'm so proud of it. You know, I'm proud that I didn't get fired. You know what I mean? Like, again, like this is my first show. And like, well, who's this guy? He's a judo guy or whatever. Let's see how he does in stunts. I mean, I've been hitting the ground since I was 5, but now you're hitting concrete and you're hitting, I did a stair fall. Wow. I won an award actually for doing 126 dog hits during, most of them obviously in prep, but I did 2 on set. 1 made the film.
What's a dog hit?
So have you seen the film?
The 4th one?
Yes.
I've seen like clips of
Killing me.
I'll go. Fine. I'll watch it tonight.
Watch it tonight. Little bit of a spoiler. There's a poker scene, and a dog jumps on the table and then kills a bad guy. The bad guy's me. Basically, a dog hit is when you take. And I've worked with these dogs before in special operations. They're Malinois.
Okay.
It's a German Malinois.
Okay.
The reason why they use those is because they're highly trained. They're very fast, very aggressive looking, and extremely smart. This particular dog's name's Britta, like the water. She was the best one. Super fast, super precise. Basically, what you're doing is you wear this tug. It's like a chew toy, but it's green. So in post, they can just remove it. And you're wearing it on a belt. No, it's actually tied to you on a thing. And all the dog cares about is that chew toy. That's it. And so when they release the dog just, and it doesn't even, they'll show it. Like in the scene, like it has to jump on so it can't see it when you say action, right?
Yeah.
I walk over, they show the dog the tug. Hey, this is Dave with the stunt guy with the tug. I walk back over where it can't see me. It kind of has an idea. So you're splitting hairs here. It jumps on the table, jumps up and just wants the tug. So when it's biting and eating me, it's eating the tug. But it looks like it's eating me. And I have to act the whole time. And the problem is I started, I always want to kind of like not impress, but like do my job. My job is to try to impress Chad. Not that I want to impress him. It's like my job is to push the limit, die the most violent death possible, be there, like support your other stunt people and act. You have to act. So what I started doing is what we call a feather fall, where you throw yourself up in the air and your shoulder hits. We do that on concrete. When you take a reaction, you do basically ukemi. The best ukemi in the world is stunts. It's not judo.
Yeah.
Because they fall for a living, they can't get injured. So I would do that once the dog hit me, and it would look really good because it would throw the dog over to my left shoulder. The problem is it would throw the dog, and if the dog loses its bite, it might rebite, and I'm throwing it next to my carotid. So basically, I have to hit my mark. I have to break my fall as the dog comes in, because what you don't want to do is be sturdy and it'll hurt the dog. It'll it'll like fold the dog up, and it won't want to do that anymore, right?
Yeah.
Well, when we do dog hits, it's coming in 1,000%. We need to break down. So there's so much timing involved. And so you got to get past the teeth to even be able to lock your senses into that timing. Anyway, I hit the ground and I'm throwing it to my carotid, and I have to act like I'm dying, but I'm actually protecting my carotid by putting my hand up. Because if it rebites, I actually have to push it off to protect myself. And then anyway,
that's crazy.
And I did 126 of those.
Wow.
I did one where I got dragged down the stairs and I had to put my back plate in front, and you're like doing this down. It's just gnarly. And it's like every day, like I love those dogs. Those dogs are just, oh my God. If any movie ever wants a dog hit, like just
sign you up.
Find me on Instagram. I'll go do it. Like I will want to do a lion hit. That'd be awesome.
A lion?
Yeah, why not? Like a wolf?
Hey,
Like what's next? You know what I mean? Bear?
that's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy.
How
I don't
long
know if I could do
were,
it.
how, were you shooting 7 days a week for this movie?
There was one week where you have SAG, so the Screen Actors Guild. There's regulations, like, and you get overtime and stuff like that. Most every week was 6 days a week.
6 days.
There was 1 7, but it has nothing to do with SAG. So what we would do is there's a lot of action sequences. So if there's action, we're on set. We're supporting the action or we're in it. If there's mainly dialogue, we're in rehearsal. Whether we're with Keanu working him, getting him, keeping him sharp, or other actors, or coming up with the choreography we call previs. That's what Jeremy's job was, to keep us moving on the previs. But yeah, 6 days a week. When we're on set, is all nights, never during the day. Almost never during the day.
How did they get the rainfall? Was that just like effects and stuff?
No, they have a rain guy. So you have these water machines that you don't see.
Yeah, they're
It's
obviously
like the boom
higher.
mic, you don't see. You know what I mean?
Shot.
But also, like, they wet it down. So if it starts drying up, they'll have a guy come in and wet it down, and then they'll pull back and they'll do the scene. And like for my stair fall, we do these high dense. It's kind of like mats, and they have adhesive on the bottom, and they'll layer like stairs, for example. So we're all padded up, but they also will layer the stairs with these high dense foam. So when you hit it, you're not getting full impact.
Yeah.
The problem is the adhesive doesn't do well with water, and it's in John Wick. It's always raining, so after the third, I did 9 stair falls when it was one action sequence, 2 angles, 6 all the way down, and then another close up. Well, it just rips off. So like I'm like, there's no time. Like, you really learn a lot when you're on set. We're running out of daylight, and we're running out of nighttime.
Yeah.
And we got to get these setups. We got to just go. You're either doing that or you're laying down in a puddle dead, and that's your job as a stunt guy. You know what I mean? So yeah, you learn a lot, and it's just go.
How'd your body hold up?
I couldn't close my guard when I got home. So when you're in it, like, we call it a long run. I mean, that's 14 months, but when you're on a long run, and again, I'm new, but like, my first real job was John Wick as a stunt guy, right? Which is like the pinnacle. You know, like, all I remember from the movie is just bodies flying in the air, just every day, just stunt guys flying all over the place, landing on concrete. But when you're in it, you become, at least for me, the most mentally strong, probably, version of myself that I will ever experience. There's just no doubt. And it's because I'm fighting every day to not get fired. Chad is really good at, he's like good at life lessons. Mm-hmm. And he was mentally preparing me. This is in pre-prep. He's like, you're going on John Wick for the first time. I need to talk to you. He gave me a book. The book was, and I suggest you guys, I should have brought you guys a copy of it. But
what is it?
The Old Man in the Sea. So it's 130 pages. It's easy read. Read it in one sitting. But it's just like about a fisherman and read the book. It's Hemingway. You want to talk about passion and just grinding it out. Like, that's the book. And so he wanted me mentally prepared for what's to come. And he said, I'll never forget. He said, he's all, Dave, don't forget. I go, what? And he goes, everyone's replaceable. You're replaceable. All the stunt guys are replaceable. I'm replaceable. The only person on this project that's not replaceable is Keanu Reeves, because he's John Wick.
Yeah.
He's the only guy. Like, if he goes down, they'll bring another director in. You know what I mean? It's not going to be, even my opinion, it's not going to be the John Wick we all know. But and I think for people that's very difficult to hear and be like, I think for some, not be offended. Like, how am I, like, that's the thing you're telling me right in the get-go?
Yeah.
But without that message, and I think everyone should hear that, without that message, it's like your default would be, I'm not fighting for my job. I woke up every day and just fought every single day on that 14-month trip to not get fired, because I knew that's my failure. That's my failure. If I get fired, I absolutely failed on this project, and that can't exist. It can't happen. I am not getting fired. They're not sending me home. And even then, towards the end of the movie, the reason why I got the stair fall is because I fought to get that stair fall. They're trying to preserve me. You know, here's a over 40-year-old stunt. Like, who becomes a stunt guy at like 45 years old? It's just ridiculous. Yeah. And that's why I fought. I'm like, I didn't do enough stunts because everyone's doing car hits. I didn't do a car hit. And I chickened out. And they'd go, well, we're not going to let you do it anyway. Because the car hits are no joke. Cars coming in at like 16 miles an hour. There were guys getting, Tobonagi?
Yeah.
If you watch the film, there's a Tobonagi where he throws him into a real car hit.
Oh.
So the car's coming in, it's a Tobonagi, and he just slams into a car, and he's got to act. Instead of bracing to not get injured, he's got to act and make it look like he really got hit with a car, and now he's expired. You know what I mean? Like he's got to look like that. And so I just fought for everything, and I just wanted to get off that project. I took a picture of myself. I took a selfie when I was on the flight coming back from Jordan, and I'm just like, my face was like I got hit by a car. And so by the time I got off, I couldn't close my guard. I remember running in class where I was like, oh, I'm back to jiu-jitsu. I'm running and went to Guerrilla Jiu Jitsu Turlock with Alejandro, one of our black belts, one of our affiliates. And I'm running around in class and I trip. I'm that guy that tripped and couldn't even run. And so I'm like, oh man, so I went to rehab. I had to rehab my body. I watched that knees over toes guy.
Oh yeah.
I even messaged him, thank you so much. I'm like, I need to seriously get back to being in constant rehab. And now I'm like, I'm great. I can spar, yeah, I'm good.
Yeah. Do you think everything in your life kind of prepared you for that grueling 14 months?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Like I said, like my dad, won't go into some of the physicality that I experienced with my father, but like, man, I just hug him. Like, thank you for making it so rough.
Yeah.
Because like, I made it through John Wick 4.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that, I feel very proud of that. But that's a family win.
I feel like most, like I said at the beginning, the unfortunate times in your life, and especially COVID is very tough for everyone. It really just builds you and just prepares you. And I think everything you go through in life really prepares you for what's to come. And everything in your life has prepared you for that grueling 14 months. And even maybe another project that might be coming the horizon for you to do. I don't know, the 5th one, the 6th one, whatever, how many more they do.
Keanu will be 70.
Yeah, literally, yeah. He would be 70. This portion of the Burn Factory podcast is sponsored by Phoenix Salon Suites. Please visit Phoenix Salon Suites at PHENIX Salons SALON Suites SUITES.com to find one near you.
As you guys may know, I was tragically burned in a school science experiment by my teacher that gave me a 50% chance to survive, and through that, I have to wear sunscreen every day for the rest of my life. And as being a golfer, the brand I trust is Kula.
Man, look at this bottle. Kula. This just screams beaches, waves, and sun. So let's give this a smell.
Ooh, the nice wind of a Tropicana breeze.
This is smelling like Hawaii, our favorite place. So next time you guys need sunscreen, go get yourself Kula. You'll thank us later. But it's time to go to ours. A little more light. It's ridiculous. So being on set, all your judo tournaments, all your jiu-jitsu competitions, was there kind of a ridiculous burn moment that you went through?
Yeah, that was the most difficult one. I do have one. It was on set, and I was in a scene. It was a quick hero moment with Keanu Reeves and me. It was like the only time it was just us. And I'll never forget it. I was laying down dead Go watch the movie. It's good. It's a good movie. You should watch it. But there's a scene where there's a lot of water, and I'm laying basically in a puddle where I'm soaked. The water machine's right on top of me. And he just did a fight, and he's, the John Wick hair and he just, it's all suffering. It's just soaked, and he just beat this guy up, right? And knowing Keanu, I've been training him since December of 2020. Like, he did 6 months of prep just to be John Wick. It's incredible. He worked harder than most fighters I've ever seen in my life. I mean, I've worked with Daniel Cormier. They work really hard. I'm sorry, but this is another level. This is just another level. This isn't a fight camp. This is like, he morphs himself into John Wick. We all did. And he's got all the water, and he comes alive the colder, wetter, more exhausted he is, the more he comes alive. It's incredible. And if he's that alive, and he's 58, I think he was 57 when he had a birthday on set, 57. Then he just lifts us all up. And you talk about like your network. Like, I need to show up to work, and there's someone there that's like, I'm glad you're here. Like, now I'm like, let's get this job done, right? He's that guy, right? And he's got all the water, and I'm laying down, and they're like, and it's a hero shot. It's just, close up, and I'm just like right off to his left. And they're like, and cut. And I'm like, okay, cut. I can get up. I start getting up, and I turn towards him, and he looks at me, and he goes, welcome to Hollywood. I tried not to like be giddy, you know what I mean? Like, try to be cool.
Yeah.
But that was just like amazing.
Yeah, almost like a so real moment.
Yeah. How was my Keanu Reeves? Was
It was
it
good.
okay? It was good. Yeah. I've been working on it like all night last night. Yeah.
Really?
No. It's terrible.
You nailed it.
It's funny when you talk to him, it's like, man, every character comes out because like his voice, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's got that voice. But anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
That's funny. How early into the shoot was that?
Pretty early, right after the dog hit.
Right
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It was the club. There was a club scene. That's the club scene. We had like 250 or 300 extras, and they're all dancing, and we have to create this circle, the stunt guy circle, because there's a fight. And so I'm dancing, and you could see me dance.
Yeah.
But basically, it's like liability. Like, if we get kicked, we're okay.
Mm-hmm.
But if an extra gets kicked, you know what I mean? Like, you don't want them to get kicked because that's not a good thing. So, yeah.
Interesting. That's funny.
Yeah, I'll for sure go and watch it tonight then. I
Yeah,
know
it's
you got me curious. I really want to go watch it.
Yeah, I died like 7 or 8 times in the movie. So
Just keep coming back alive.
I almost had him. Like, I'm like, I'm going to end the movie right now. This is, then I died.
John Wick dies.
Yeah, that's the 5th one.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Nah, but it's
That's
crazy.
funny. But back to Keanu Reeves, you said that he was the hardest working. Was it just because he was so driven for this movie, or why do you think he was so hardworking? Or is that just him?
Like, everyone, the question I get all the time is he really that nice? Like, he's an absolute sweetheart. But, like, you're not going to outwork him. Like, he's the hardest working actor there, for sure. You know what I mean? And he elevates everyone in the room, because in prep, we have all the other actors with us at times. And they see how hard Keanu's working, so they want to try, they're inspired, you know? But he's amazing. Yeah. Just, I mean, it's amazing what he can do. It's just incredible.
What was the training and prep for him?
So we did a lot of, we wear gis because obviously gis don't rip. It's like he wears a sport jacket, right? Or a suit.
Like a suit.
So we did a lot of that. I was brought in to train him, to be one of his head trainers. So if you look in the earlier movies, and Eric, he did an amazing job with him and trained him in 2 and 3. I think Eric Brown, yeah. And the style, again, from what I understood, the style is more load bearing, so it's lifting. You know, that lifting, slamming judo, and they, I think when Chad was putting this whole thing together, he wanted judo. Judo was right? By the time as he ages, you want actually more Aikido. What I mean by that is I was brought in because they saw the way I did my judo was very dynamic. It's fast. And I was being vetted. This is prior to me getting hired, obviously, but they're like, give John Wick your style. I'm like, okay. And so I came up with 3 main throws that were not load bearing. And basically what that means is he's not carrying the weight of the stunt guy. So a lot of what is happening is the stunt guy's timing, acting, and hitting his mark, timing, and then hitting the ground violently. So I gave him, what was it, like 4 throws? Haraigoshi, Uchimata, Sasai. Those are the 3 main throws. Oh, and Osotogari. And each of those, the way I do it, it's not load bearing at all. And it works perfectly for we call a Sayuchi, which is a side fall. I call it the flower because you flower up. When you take a fall, what a stunt guy wants to do is kind of open their body as they fall. The best stunt guys in the world are Chad's stunt guys. So it just fit. It was a puzzle piece I think Chad saw, and then he's like, Dave, we'll fit this puzzle piece. And so like the training consisted of a lot of throws. I had to learn Aikido. So when I first got there in September, I was in the parking lot at 87 at 5 in the morning. I was the first guy there until I left for Germany. And then I had this other guy, Makaya Chow. He's just an amazing stunt guy. Like he's a young guy. He was young back then, and he's still young, but he's young back then. And basically he became my partner, and he was so fluid, and we got so in tune with each other. Just amazing. Just like it'd take us a few weeks to get back to where we were, right? But he met me in the parking lot. And so it's dark, and we're in the parking lot at this stunt gym, and I'm like going over Aikido. And I did that for months and months until Chad finally gave me a key. He's like, he goes, what are you doing? I go, oh, well, this morning, he goes, I saw it. And I go, there's a camera. I didn't even know there was a camera on me. And basically you could see all the Aikido I'm doing. Anyway, I had to learn Aikido to mesh it with my style. And then with Jiu-Jitsu too, they also liked my dynamic Jiu-Jitsu because Jiu-Jitsu is boring for movies. It just doesn't sell well. You have to have a certain type. So if you see Keanu jump in the air and do all these flying bow and arrows and stuff like that, and Imanari rolls, that came from myself and Jeremy. We both trained him. But it consists of doing that and then adding the choreo and then the gun work. Yeah. So I went to Terrence to shoot with him, and Chad also saw that because I've been working with guns since I was a kid. So I mean, I just think I had all the skills that made sense for me to be in that position.
I wanted to ask you about this because you have an interesting story on how you really started jiu-jitsu. You were at Fresno State and you had the knee injury, and then you started doing jiu-jitsu. So how hard was that time for you?
Really hard because my dad was totally against me doing jiu-jitsu. Like he's just like, anything that gets in the way, in the way of me making the Olympic team. He just felt it was a threat. Like I couldn't play football. I was a pretty decent receiver in PE. I don't know. But the coaches were like, well, we want you to try out for the football team. I'm like, I can't. My dad would just be a blocker. But then I started doing, fast forward, I hid it from my dad, and I spent that extra day without him knowing doing jiu-jitsu. And I started doing like flying arm locks in competition. I just started hurting people actually, and because I'd hit the arm so fast. My dad's like, he just loved it. So it's not that I was upset. I just had to prove it to him that this is a valuable addition to what I'm doing right now,
Yeah.
And so I got the knee injury, and I'm like, I started jiu-jitsu, and I'm like, I saw him, Ralph Gracie fight in extreme fighting way back in the day. And I just like, well, how different is it? That was my question. I needed that answer. And so I experienced it.
Yeah. How beneficial was it integrating jiu-jitsu to judo?
I mean, it's pretty amazing. Like we talk about like MMA, like if I can't beat you striking, then I take you to the ground. So in my judo competitions, I would they knew the threat was on the ground. But the problem is they would be so afraid of going to the ground, then it would open up the foot sweeps. And so I would just throw people I would never throw normally. Like if I would just went at them tachiwaza and they didn't know I had ground, I would never throw them. It just messes up your head. So the transition, the speed of judo, I did jiu-jitsu at that speed. So like I meshed it really well. And the problem though back then is I would have been a better competitor if I spent more time pinning people. But my mindset was like, I'm a finisher.
Yeah.
Why am I wasting my time with osaikomi? Like, why am I trying to pin you? Now I try to pin everybody.
Yeah.
Because I got to tire out these young kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
These dang kids.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
At a young age, did you ever want to get into mixed martial arts eventually?
I did 2 fights.
Okay.
Oh, you
Really?
did?
Yeah, but like I don't really even consider it. They're like way back. I did a tournament, so I fought twice in one night and won the tournament.
Oh.
Armbarred both guys. Like I said, when I went to AKA, I'm like, I'm either gonna fight or become a coach, and I'm like, and I'm glad because I don't think, I might take heat for this, but I don't think fighting life is a good life.
It's a tough life.
It's not. I think it's good. It's not good for me, but I see a lot of, like I saw every aspect of it. You know what I mean? And then the aftermath years later of, what are people doing now that used to be, amazing fighters? And I think the problem with fighting, and then you could say this is about anything, like it could be Hollywood, but there's too many people thinking you're amazing. Wow, you're so amazing. You fight. And it gets in your head and you can't get it out of your head. And you don't make proper decisions as you get close to maybe retiring or whatever. And then you lose a fight and then you chase the fight to try to get a win, or you chase a paycheck. I mean, I guess I'm just outlining everything that's difficult in most fields, but my advice to people who are fighting is like, don't consider this a career. I tell my guys, I'm like, this is not a career. This is a hobby. You can be passionate about your hobby. You can go 1,000% into your hobby, but 0.1% of fighters actually make it a career. Like, learn from it, take that and develop something on the side, and that's going to probably be your career down the road. The chances of people making it in fighting is like football. Yeah. And I think that's like, I wish some of the guys I used to train could understand that. I'm like, so going back to my decision to not want to fight I'm really glad I made that decision. I'm glad I didn't live the fight life. I mean, I did as a coach and a training partner, but I listened to my wife, really, like, and all the stupid things in my head that was trying to drive me in certain directions. My wife's like, no, that's stupid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even now, it's like, am I going to go be a stunt guy the rest of my life, or am I going to provide for my family? Yeah. Because living the stunt life, that's all I want to do outside of family. Like it's like, I have withdrawals. Yeah. Leaving John Wick 4. Like, absolutely. The hardest thing I've ever done in my life. And I watched the movie and I'm just like, okay, like, I just want to do that.
Yeah. Let's do it again.
I just want to do stair falls until I'm 55.
Yeah. It almost becomes addictive.
So like, I think if you look at like fighting, I'm going to repeat this. It's not a career. It's a hobby. And that's like, I think most sports, it's a hobby until it's a career. Like, you make millions, okay. But like, it's tough. That road is like, and you got to have a certain, like I said, we talk about trauma. You have to have certain burn moments that have, I think, fueled you. If you feel anger because you were treated a certain way, you got to turn that around and use it as fuel. And if you don't have enough fuel in the tank, you're probably not cut out to make fighting a career.
Do you think a lot of fighters now make it a career instead of a hobby?
No, most don't. When you watch UFC, you're watching the top less than 1%.
Yeah.
Like, top 10 fighters are less than one. Like, how many people have you never even seen fight that are pushing? You know what I mean? I just think it's smart to say, this is, I mean, and I'm not saying don't go 100%, and be passionate, read, the old man in the sea. Live it.
Yeah.
But it's just not like develop your teaching ability, develop your relationships. I think those are extremely important.
Did you enjoy the 2 fights that you did? Like being in the cage and having that feeling of fighting, or was it something that
Well,
you're like, I'm okay?
Half was awesome. Probably the best instructor I could have ever had at the time, Half Gracie. I show up and I'm like, I can't fight. I'm hurt. So I'm like, I'm not fighting today. He's like, okay. We show up and he goes, well, he cursed at me and he said, put your cup on. I go, for what? And he goes, you're fighting. And I go, okay. That was it.
Saying yes.
And so like, there was no time to be stressed out. It was just like, I went in there and just smashed. It was cool. I don't know.
Good experience.
I think I'm not crazy enough to make that, like, to be a fighter.
Yeah.
There's a certain level of crazy. And I think my crazy is pretty crazy, but it's a different, I mean, it's pretty crazy that I did John Wick and I did all these things, but like, I don't know if it's like something deep seated, like I got to prove myself. I don't know what it is, but I just like, I don't want to deal with that.
Yeah.
You know, I'd rather be a coach.
Yeah. Like you said, you have to have a certain level of like craziness and trauma just to like, to feel it. And if you don't have that, then I don't think you can be a successful fighter.
Yeah. And that's a compliment. You know, those people are crazy. I'm like, dude, go.
Yeah.
Like, I have a ton of friends that are crazy. In the military, like, you're crazy. Yeah. It's cool. It's cool.
Yeah.
It's cool to be crazy.
Yeah.
That I like being surrounded by crazy people.
Yeah. It's funny. I don't know. It's cool. It's cool to see the evolution of MMA as a whole, though. Just continue to get better and better. And you get so many more people that are into it now. And I think
amazing.
it's testament to COVID. COVID really just exploded.
Yeah.
MMA.
It was on its way, but COVID made it amazing. And it's true. It's like, I mean, it's the king of sparring arts. There's nothing close to MMA. Jiu-jitsu's amazing for longevity. It's amazing. It's dynamic problem solving. It's safe, much safer. MMA, like when I spar with these jiu-jitsu guys, they're playing checkers. We're playing like speed chess.
Yeah.
With daggers. You know what I mean?
It's different. It's a whole different game.
It's different.
Yeah. But all right, Dave, it's time to go to N. N is kind of 2 parts. It's now and next. So are there any burn moments that you're going through right now in your life? And there any burn moments that you see coming in the future?
Burn moments that I'm going through. Well, my mother passed away and I appreciate you guys like being really
I'm sorry to hear that.
It's okay. It's a part of life. Go hug your mom. It's like I said, I don't have trauma in my life, but like that's the most difficult thing I've ever had to deal with. It was like 4 weeks where it was really rough. But I learned life is a gift. You know, like I told my son, when he realized people die, we're having this conversation, and he's like, Ba, Ba is dad in Chinese. Ba, are you gonna get old? I go, yeah. He goes, are you gonna be a grandpa? I go, yeah. He goes, are you gonna die? And I go, yeah. And he like lightning crying, like immediate. You could tell he just realized for the first time in his life, people die and he's going to lose me one day, right? And I just went right back with strength. I'm like, life's a gift. Like, it's amazing we're here.
Yeah.
And so like every day he's like, life's a gift, life's a gift. And so like I had 47 amazing years with my mother. Life's a gift.
It kind of goes back to that cliche saying of treat every day like it's your last, because you never know when it's gonna be all over.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It gets real fast, especially seeing what Priest went through. Like whoa, what just happened? Is this real? Like,
can't imagine.
Someone pinched me.
Make sure you appreciate the little things. I saw something that's like you have a 1% chance to even be born. Like the percentage of even being born is insane. But going back to just kind of little, how'd you get involved with Zuckerberg?
I did a combatives symposium in Copenhagen because the unit I work with, we work with allies, and I was one of the instructors for that. So there was a guy there that, fast forward, it was 2018, so fast forward, right after I got off of John Wick, I had no job. And then I got a job with Mark. So it was just a contact that I made, and I thought nothing of it. And then I get contacted again, and I get an interview, and I'm like, I don't really know who this is. And then they tell me who it is, and I'm like, okay. We're gonna, they're trying out different people. I got the job, but one of the most amazing, gifted individuals I've ever spent time with in my life. Incredible human being, family man, just incredible. But I would go back to say that it's because I said yes, and it was because I was somewhere, and it's because I was pushing. You never know down the road what's going to happen. So if so many people had real struggles with COVID, terrible. I'm not one of those people. I lost my school of 14 years. I got a job on John Wick. I come back 2021, no job. I get hired the next few months later. It's just, I can't tell you how appreciative I am. And I don't know, like, luck.
Yeah. But it's back to what you said, by saying yes. You just got to say yes and push.
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 Just bring it, man.
Yeah.
Crave. We say crave the battle.
Crave the battle.
That's one of our slogans in Guerrilla Jiu Jitsu. Crave the battle, not the glory. Just go.
Yeah.
How good is he though? Is he good?
Yeah, he's doing great.
I know he just messed up his knee though, which is tough. But
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Unfortunately, yeah, I mean, it is. We're all in on that one, so we're gonna get him back. You want to talk about discipline? Like, just the most disciplined human being I've ever seen in my life. Sheer will. Yeah, he's doing great. He won his first jiu-jitsu competition.
Yeah, congrats.
You know what I mean? Like, it was tough. Like, those are no joke. Like, he's a white belt at the time, but those are no joke. And he's doing really good. But I think we have a good team around us. It's not just me. With Kai and James, a strong team. I basically build a team surrounding him, and I really never thought this would go where it is, to be honest. I'm like, maybe he would try it. You never know. Maybe he's going to try it and then not like it, whatever. No, he loves it.
Does he want to get into a mixed martial arts fight?
You guys will see. We'll see.
Oh.
We'll see.
Uh-oh.
No, we don't know.
Oh, yeah.
I'm saying just pay attention.
Uh-huh.
We're obviously, we've taken pictures. A lot of this is out. So he built a cage, and we fought each other, and we would have fights, and literally I would fight because I'd build a team. I'd bring a team in, and we would literally have, like, I'm fighting him, Kai would fight this guy, or we'd have this guy, and then he'd be the main event. And so, like, we would do that to get him.
Almost like simulate a fight.
Simulate. We'd bring crowd.
Okay.
We have crowd noise.
Really?
We had walkout songs.
And he just enjoys it. He loves it.
Loves it. Like, it's awesome.
Wow.
It's just how appreciative he is. It's just, I never thought, you meet an actor, Keanu Reeves, and you meet Mark Zuckerberg, and like, they're some of the sweetest people you will ever meet in your life. It's incredible.
Yeah. Super down to earth.
And it's that in those environments, that's not an easy thing to accomplish. That's not easy.
Yeah.
With the pressures that they deal with. Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah. And all the fame they get too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Maybe we'll fight Elon. We'll see. Nah, I don't know. We'll see. But steering back to you, so what's the future like and coming? You got any cool things coming up?
A few more stair falls, I hope. You know what I mean? My current work, is really good with maybe me doing some movies here and there, but I just got to qualify. So I'm trying to stay relevant in that arena. Keep doing what I'm doing, grow it. I'm looking at potentially starting another academy. So,
Oh, nice.
we'll see. We'll see.
In like San Jose area, or where?
In the Bay Area.
In the Bay Area.
Yeah, somewhere in the Bay Area. I just got to build a team, because the number one thing is not cost; it's always personnel. And so, I'm very big on I need certain types of people to make this work.
Yeah.
So what I do is when I get a new person, I vet them by just harassing them with a little bit of the stuff I learned on John Wick.
Yeah.
And if they can't take it, then they're
gone.
Okay, I hope you do well.
Yeah.
No, you know what I mean? Like a
Yeah.
little, you gotta be able to take the pressure. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. Would you like to take outside of stunts role? Maybe more of a major role into a film? Or are you just
Like an
full on
actor?
for stunts? Yeah.
I'll do whatever Chad tells me to do. That's the thing. If he goes, you're doing this and you're acting, I'm like, okay, I'm doing this and acting then. But I don't think I would like acting.
Really?
No, because I want to fight. I want to hit the ground. I want to acting. Again, I'm not an actor, but we don't get stools.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You don't.
We're the grunts. I just think that's a better role for me. I don't think I want to act. But I'm not saying I don't.
Yeah.
Maybe it's fun.
Yeah.
I never really did much of it, but I want to hit the ground
The thrill of it.
until I can't anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't not too much longer. You're just like, what am I doing? But I haven't hit that yet.
Just keep going.
Yeah.
Keep saying yes, and
Just keep saying yes.
it'll get you places. So, but all right, Dave. Well, you just spelled burn in your life. Thank you so much
Yes,
for
thank
coming
you.
on the
Thank you.
show. Tell the audience where they can find you at, social media, your gym, everything going on with you.
Right here, right there,
right here.
Yeah.
This camera.
This camera.
Where can you find me? Dave Camarillo on Instagram. Dave Camarillo on Instagram. Please follow me. That's about it.
You heard the man. Go give him some love. And as a gift, Dave, for coming on the podcast, you will be getting the Black Label Edition Burn Factory hoodie and also the belt. So you
I get a belt.
Yeah, you get.
That's awesome.
You get
You're
both of those.
The
Wow.
Burn Factory podcast champion.
Oh, that's amazing. I appreciate it.
So,
I didn't have to fight anybody for it.
No, just sharing your story. So we
I
appreciate
appreciate
you
it.
coming on and
No, thank you.
And everything
Appreciate
and
it.
being-
Hope that worked out for you.
no, it
Yes,
was
it was
amazing.
awesome.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. But that's gonna do it from another episode of the Burn Factory podcast. Like always, comment, and subscribe at the Burn Factory podcast.
And always, please visit my foundation as well, thepriestjamesfoundation.org. Again, thepriestjamesfoundation.org to understand why this is called the Burn Factory.
We'll see you guys for the next episode. Peace.
All right, guys, we're here with Dave, who just felt burn in his life, and he is now the Burn Factory podcast champion. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys so much. Oh, that's
Appreciate
awesome.
it.
For sharing your story. No, you go.
So if someone else
family.
if someone else wins this, I have to fight them. I have to show up.
Hey, call them out.
Call.
Baby.
But, thank you, Dave. Thank you for coming on the show
Thanks
and
so
sharing
much.
your story. You're such an inspiration to
Oh,
us
appreciate it, man.
and many people out there. So
And I love you guys' hair. It's just
working on the flow.
yeah, you guys look good.
Thank you.